In our Facebook story of the day, a Texas teenager will return to court this week to try to stop her family from forcing her to have an abortion.
Now, here are the facts of the case this morning. A 14-year-old girl is about 2 months pregnant. In court documents, she claims one family member turned physically violent trying to convince her to end her pregnancy.
Now, earlier this month, a district judge extended her temporary restraining order against her family for 15 days.
This case is about a woman's or girl's, teenager's fundamental right to choose, and the Roe v. Wade decision goes both ways. So in the state of Texas, a teenage girl can get a judicial bypass without parental consent or notification. This case is about the fact that that goes both ways. So if the teenage girl wants to carry the child to term, she has a fundamental constitutional right to do that.
Now, another attorney in the case, Stephen Casey, says, quote, if a woman has a constitutional right of an abortion under Roe v. Wade, then she has a constitutional right to keep her child as well.
Well, now the judge will decide whether to continue to enforce a temporary restraining order or withdraw it this Thursday. In the meantime, the restraining order prohibits the girl's family members from coercing, threatening, or trying in any way to get her to end her pregnancy.
Certainly a highly debated story here.
Boy, you know, we say something. There are a lot of moving parts in this one. You've got the girl's 14 years old, under 18. She's pregnant, so now you've got sexual activity, obviously. Now, and it sounds like the father of the child is in the mix somewhere, but not in any kind of criminal way. It's not one of those cases.
Yeah, no, I mean that's not implicated. That he's there's
something
going on there.
But still, he's in the mix. So you've got the age of the daughter. You've got the family saying, you know, you have to have an abortion at 14 years old. You can't do that. But then, of course, our old friend Roe v. Wade comes back in.
I mean, she has the right. I mean, she's pregnant. It's her child, technically, not her family's child. But
that's a question, and that's where the age comes back in.
Yeah, best interest in the child.
Because there are things with age about, you know, consensual sex and things of that nature. If we're looking, let's just say if the father was of a certain age or so, that's one factor. But here, you know, the law kind of looks at that for the person you've been with, but not for parents. So in a sense, it's like the parent can't sit there and be like, okay, this is my child, so you know what, you have to get an abortion. You have to do this. So it's like here, it's one of those things where she's the mother, and she has the right to make up her decision as to if she wants to keep the child.
But does she? If you haven't been emancipated, you don't get the right to choose. You can't choose to drop out of school. You don't get to choose to do certain things if you're under 18, or in some states 16 to 17, but still 14 certainly.
True, but it's her body. You don't need someone to tell you, hey, you know, oh yeah, by the way, you're in control of your own body. Let me just tell you that you have control of your own body. I mean, I understand her parents wanting to look out the best interest for her, but my thing goes back to, okay, where were the parents when she was sexually active? You know, where were the parents then? And now you're stepping in and you're saying, oh, well, you have to have an abortion. It's like, where were you when you knew that I was out here sexually active? If they knew. I mean, they may not have known. So.
And you know, of course, the family members, and the story is posted on our Facebook page. We'll get to that in a second. But there's more. It's more than just coercing. There's physical threats. Her cousins have physically assaulted her, trying to get rid
of the baby.
Yeah, trying to get her an abortion or have the baby, you know, not be in there. I mean, you're talking. That's a criminal act. So you've got criminal acts. You've got all these things happening in this one story out of Corpus Christi, Texas. It's crazy.
It's pretty serious. And you know, one thing as well, we were just talking about the safe haven law a few moments ago. You know, that's one option to look at if this girl chooses to have the child, if she wants to give it up for adoption, or the safe haven law. I think the parents should also maybe give her different options as well.
And not just say that one thing, just you have to have an abortion.
Right. But that's going to come down to a judge to decide. If the parents can say, or her guardians, I think it's her grandparents in this case, but say, guess what? You don't get to choose at 14. You don't get to choose. I get to choose. But of course, we want to know your thoughts on the subject as well. If you head to our Facebook page, you'll find this question. Do you think a 14-year-old should have the right to choose to have an abortion, or is she, because she's under 18, at the discretion of her guardians? And of course, how does Roe v. Wade play into the whole case?
Of course, post your comments on our Watch Fox Facebook page or tweet us, #WatchGVC. We'll be talking a little more about this later in the show.
That's right. So a very hot topic, and I think we're going to see a lot of litigation in stories. I'll be surprised if friend Nancy Grace gets involved.
Oh, sure. Especially whatever comes to the judge Thursday on Thursday. So
it's going to be a big case, but certainly love to have you send off, and we're going to talk about that a little later on this morning as well.